This time around I'm going to be going over my dual Gatling gun heavy, well quad Gatling gun heavy actually, because it has 2 more Gatling guns in the back. It has a pulse machine gun, a heat machine gun, and 2 KE Gatling guns. Now this heavy was really good before the nerf to ineffective damage that pretty much nerfed ineffective damage to the ground. They're trying to fix that in 1.03, but then it gets nerfed back again in 1.04. So they're just going really up and down with it. They can't really decide on where ineffective damage should be. But because that's what this mech relies on, it's been nerfed to the ground, and it's probably not going to be getting any better anytime soon. But it served me for like 60 or 50 videos and won me a lot of matches. So it did its job, and I'm content with that. Both of the Gatling guns are power spec'd, and that's the only spec I really have for this Gatling gun. I run the second flash rocket because it has better reload time than the other flash rocket. This mech was mainly used against tanks, and if you expected to see a tank on a flat map, you could just pretty much stop them from doing anything. Like if your teammates would have problems fighting autocannon or cannon tanks, you could just flash rocket the tank and you'd win. The pulse machine gun and heat machine gun were only really there if you ran into lightweights or midweights, or heavy reverse joints, or tetrapods, and they happen to be weak to the pulse machine gun. Aside from that, you would generally just use both dual Gatling guns and just flash rocket stuff down. The KE defense is just enough not to get hit effective by the Jessups. Well, they have a different name now, but that was their name in Armor Core 5. They just look like the AK-47. But yeah, you resist those, and you do actually get hit effective by lamp hordes, but, well, they have a different name now too. I should probably just show the gun when I'm talking about it instead. You resist this gun, and you get hit effective by this gun. This should just be simple enough. But yeah, in terms of the head, the core, the arms, and the legs actually give it midweight turning, which I'm really surprised they allowed that in this game. Generally, heavy bipeds have horrible turning, and that's one of the reasons people generally don't want to run them. But yeah, this heavy biped, it gets reasonable enough CE defense and TE defense. And you also get recoil resistance, which is pretty good for the amount of movement it has and the amount of turning. Because most mechs that have that type of turning won't have that type of recoil resistance. I'm actually still running the Occurate with this mech even though I'm using flash rockets. With the 250 range, normally I would say that it's not needed, but because the Gatling gun that I'm using has like 260 optimal range, you actually can fire pretty well within that range, especially with 515 muzzle velocity. So it actually works out pretty nice. I mean, there are times, depending on like what the map looks like, if it's an open map, where I'll even run the 280, just because of how much optimal range those Gatling guns have. I mean, a majority of the rifles actually have worse optimal range, which is getting changed in a later patch. So, like later on, rifles will actually have optimal range that they probably should. The generator and booster is going to be the same for a very long time. There's only 1 or 2 mechs I use that have different generators and boosters. Same with the recons. But yeah, mainly this mech was used to kill tanks on flat maps where I thought my team wouldn't have a mech where they would be able to handle an autocannon tank or a laser cannon tank or just any tank in general. You can also kill a lot of heavy bipedals with it because most heavy bipedals can't seem to get off the ground. But yeah, thanks to the nerf to ineffective damage, when they nerfed it to the ground and pretty much made it almost unviable in a sense, this mech has lost its place, gone on the shelf, and I don't really plan to use it anytime soon.